The other day I got a question that, hey Nandi, how can I optimize such navigation for mobile where, you have a bunch of like menu items on the top and they are all drop downs and stuff like that. If you look at the Framer site, it basically has the same thing. And, they are a little bit confused about how this can actually be brought into like a phone breakpoint where, you can open this down and then there are also like little drop downs, but in a little different way. So in this video, we're gonna explore this together because I'm also not completely sure how it's created, but together we're gonna figure it out, and hopefully by the end of the video, you're gonna learn how this is created, and yeah, you're gonna be able to create cool little responsive navigations for your Framer websites that in desktop version have little like tooltips or, these hoverable, I don't know, drop downs, and then on phone they are just clickable or tappable. So yeah, no more talking. My name is Nandi, this is Framer University, and let's get started. So I'm not even gonna waste any more time. I'm gonna jump right inside of Framer. I already have a tutorial on the perfect navigation bar, so I'm gonna link that down in the description. So if you don't know how to create this basic setup, which is just, drop down on phone or like a hamburger menu, and then basically that's it, but there are no like hoverable drop downs or anything like that. This is what we're going to use as a starting state. If you don't know how to create this, again, go down to the description, and yeah, just watch that video or remix the project or whatever. But the point is that this is where we're starting. So how can we make sure that when we hover over these, we're going to actually see a little something here that pops up, and we also make sure that it's nicely optimized for phone? Well, my first thing will probably be designing those little drop downs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just think about where I want to place them, because I can either place them on these menu items here, but I don't think that I want to place it on this, because what we're going to see is on hover, let's just check it here, on hover, these menus, like resources, for example, the text gets a little bit lighter. And I already know that that is created with a variant. So basically, when I hover over, I show a relative overlay and I switch the variant of this to the hover. So probably those drop downs the triggers of those drop downs will be separate components. They're not going to be links. So we're going to keep these links as components, but we're going to duplicate them, then detach it, and we're going to just call it, I don't know, drop down base, maybe? I don't know. Let's turn this into a component. I'm going to call this the default primary variant. And then here I'm just going to somehow like create another variant, which is going to be called hovered, maybe? And this is going to be white, probably. Do we have a white? No, we have this neutral 50, but that's pretty much white. So that's going to be great for us. So we have these two states. When we hover over, we're going to see the light version. And when we hover off, we're going to see the default. Let's think about the phone already. So this is something that you have to understand. When you start building something, even on the desktop, you have to think that, okay, but I'll have to optimize this for phone. So can I do actually something in this component already that will help me later down the line? So that's what I'm exploring now. So I'm just going here, clicking this. No, I think we can use the same two variants, because it's also gray here, and then I click and it just turns into white. So we're going to be able to use that without any problems, and also the size looks pretty much the same. So I think we're going to be good with these two variants here in the drop-down base. So we can just duplicate this a few times. We forgot to add a property for the text, because now we just have a variant switcher in the right panel. We cannot change the text within, so I'm going to just go within the component, click the text layer, and then the right content is clicked, and then the plain text variable will be created. I'm going to call it just label. So yeah, now I can just have resources, lessons, and support. So lesson and support. Let's just make sure that everything is the drop down base. I'll just move one, not that. I'm just going to move one menu item to the side, and then this one will be support. So now that we have 3 drop down bays, we can make a little little overlay that will open when we hover over. So that will be using this menu item component. I'm just thinking about the variants here because let me see. So first of all, they look a little bit different. They have icons and everything. I'm not gonna mess around with that, I think. However, I kind of want to take a look at the phone version. Yeah, they are pretty much simplified, and they have a little left padding here. That's what I can see there. Yeah, basically that's it. One more thing that I'm wondering about a little bit is, can I do something like, can I just wrap this drop down base in a component? So I'm just wrap it in a stack, option command enter, set it to fit content height and width. I'm gonna call this drop down, just not drop down base, just simply drop down. And we're gonna turn this into a component. And what if we here have like a desktop version which has an overlay? I'm just gonna play around with this now. So nothing is final. So I'm just adding an overlay to the drop down base. So it will show up, yeah. And can I do a mobile where basically we don't have the overlay? Can I remove? Yes, I can, it seems like. Can I fully remove? No, it's kind of still here. Can I remove? Yeah, I can, but then it's removed on the primary too. Okay, so how is it? It's kind of removed. Can I have, for example, a frame here prepared on the primary that I will show on the mobile? Let's see, mobile open. Because if I can do this, then this is probably a really great way of doing it. So I'm just gonna make it super simply. So let's say when I click this, I go here. Can I do this? Works, okay. And this. Oh, look at that, it works. Okay, so we're gonna do this, no problem. We're gonna do this. So yeah, we're gonna bring each drop down into a component. We're not gonna apply these overlays here outside. We're gonna put them inside of a component, and then we're gonna have to play around with visible properties and different variables to make sure that each of them is nicely customizable. So let's move this menu item inside, and for now let's just think about the overlay. So I don't really know anything about the styling of this one, to be honest, so let's just copy what we see here maybe. It seems like it has sort of like a dark background, probably a little bit grayish, and that's it. So let's do that. Maybe something like that. And let me see. Okay. And I'm gonna just probably, let me think. I'm gonna paste this menu item here within, and I'm gonna turn this overlay into a stack. So everything within is relatively positioned. So basically responsive, because I can set the width, the fill, and stuff like that. Now I kind of want everything to be left aligned, so I have to kind of tweak this element here, this menu item. So the text will be left aligned, it will be set to width fill. I'm gonna make this a little bit larger. Basically that's it. Maybe I'm gonna add a little, like, let's just say that these are icons that we can customize for each. Now they're not really icons, but let's just say they are icons. I'm gonna drop the opacity slightly. Yeah, maybe like this, and then hover maybe there, right here. So this is how an item looks like. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Phone, we're gonna talk about phone a little bit later. Maybe we're not even gonna need a phone. So overlay, within we have this. So let's think about this. We can turn the content of the overlay into a component, I think. So we can just duplicate this a bunch of times. We can set the vertical. We can set this overlay to fit content, and we can set the gap to 0. And I'm gonna just wrap again all of these items within in a stack. Option command enter, and I'm gonna set that to gap 0. And I'm gonna add the padding here. So we'll just add a little padding, nothing crazy. Probably we need less on the top and bottom. Sorry, yeah, less on the top and more on the left and right. So maybe 20 on the left, 20 on the right. Yeah, probably a little bit too much. 16. I don't know. Maybe looks good. kind of. We're not really we're not really designing it properly here. Let's just say that this looks great. So okay, this is stack within. Let's call it, I don't know, overlay links. I'll just call it overlay links. And this will be a reusable component, okay? So this will be a reusable component. I will add more stuff here, and I can potentially I'm not gonna do this because I don't have much time, but I can potentially pull every single information out to the outside. So I can select all of the menu items. I can click label. Now I have a label property. I can click label here as well. I'm gonna pull out all the labels, but I'm not gonna do the links. I don't have time for that. Sorry. So label, great. So now from the outside, so from the other level, from the drop down level, I can click this component here on the right panel. I have all of this. So I can write here, and you can see it changes. And if I brought a link, it would be here, and I could change it as well. But I'm lazy, so I'm gonna just do one more thing. If I don't set something, so if I leave this one empty, I do not want to display it, right? So let's make sure that happens. Each of these menu items will get a visible condition based on their label. So if label 0 or 1 is, it's actually, yeah, label 1 is set, then that first item is also visible, and each of them will get this. So label 2, label 3 is set, label 4 is set, and label 5 is set. So now this is sort of responsive and customizable and nice, and we like that. So here I can just, I can just write item 1. I'm just going to be really simple, sorry guys, but I could just generate something here with ChatGPT. But yeah, let's just have item 1, 2, and 3. And yeah, I think that's it. We hover over and we have these here. Looks pretty good. I don't know what was that little jumpy. Hopefully we're not going to see it anymore. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just make sure that when we hover over, we actually have the light version of our drop-down base. So we select the component, and on the right where we apply the relative overlay, we can also set the on open to hovered. So on open, the variant switches to hovered. Pretty good, right? Looks really nice. So we have this, which basically means that we are happy, and it also means that we could potentially just reuse this for all of these. But now you're going to see that for, first of all, this is the only one that is hoverable, which is slightly confusing. Yeah, okay, now I can see that these are just drop-down base components. This is the drop-down component. We're going to have to use it 3 times. But now we have the same things for each of these. So how can we make sure that these are responsive? Well, we have to bring everything out as a variable. So first of all, the drop-down base label, the, I don't know, main label, let's just call it that. And then within the overlay, thankfully we can bring all of these labels out. So yeah, we're just gonna bring everything out. And that's it. It's just gonna work. So resources, then we're gonna have lesson here, item 4, item 5, item 6, and then resources, which is going to be support, item 7, item 8, item 9. Look at this. We have a reusable component. Beautiful, isn't it? I like it really much. Now, how does it work on phone? We cannot hover on phone, so this is not going to be great. What we're going to have to do is, remember, we have to create a phone version here that has the click interaction. But for that, we have to prepare something already on the primary breakpoint, not the breakpoint primary variant. So I'm going to just go back for a second to cheat a little bit just to see what we have here. So I'm going to click here. I just want to see the animation, what happens. I'm just wondering if they're using Reusable or absolute and opacity. Not really sure. Probably they're using Reusable and they just add an appear effect, which is a really simple solution, but technically that generates the most I don't know, accessible code or whatever. I most of the time like using absolute because I have more control over how the animation happens. But yeah, if you want to be proper developers, we might use visible, but in my opinion, it doesn't look that great. Mainly because when I click it here, again, it just jumps back. I don't like that, but we're going to do it. No problem. So all we do is we already here on the primary, copy this overlay links component from the overlay, and we're going to paste it below the drop-down base. So they appear here. Super easy. And here we're just going to disable this. So there's a shortcut for this. You can see it on my screen, but you probably don't have that character on your keyboard. And I don't really know what it's going to be on your keyboard. So yeah, let's just set visible to no here in the right panel. Now all we have to do is on the variant that we just created here, and we're going to call it phone. Here we're going to disable the overlay. So I'm just going to backspace, delete. It's no longer there. And then I'm going to create another variant called phone open, and this will be having these overlay links here visible, yes. And I think that's it. We can probably tweak the gap. I'm going to do it on the primary because I want to adjust it on all variants. Yeah, I think 0 is enough. And I'm going to also make sure that both the drop down base and the overlay links are both set to width fill. It doesn't look that great, but I think I can just set this to a larger width. Now, maybe fit is not gonna work. Maybe use fit here, but then just by the way, let's set this drop down base text to left alignment. Just a little side note here. What else do I wanna set this to fill? No, I don't want to set it to fill here. I think we're gonna be good. Okay, Nandi, you can do this. So yeah, that's all we have. I'm gonna just connect. By the way, let's just grab this and set it to hovered here. And all I do is I set an interaction. So I connect from the phone pop to the phone open. On click, it goes there. Beautiful. And then from here, when I click this again, it goes back. Beautiful. Now you're gonna see that this is ugly, not good. First of all, we don't see anything, and I don't really like that. To be honest, why? I can see everything here. I can see the items here, and then when we come here and click, they disappear. Again, this is my first time doing this, so you are seeing all the struggles that I have along the way. So let's just see what is happening, because maybe it's just in the preview on the component canvas. So I'm just gonna try out here on the phone open version. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna set everything up properly here. So on the phone closed and on the phone open, I'm gonna select these drop down items. So let me just grab them. Okay. Oh my god, what I don't want to do that. Okay, let's not select these, only select these. Okay, so let's set them to phone. Seemingly nothing has changed, but in reality a lot has changed. Yeah, everything is not, it's just what is going on. I'm gonna publish this. What I usually do in this case is just publish it and see, is it the text is actually there, or text is not there. So we can just go inspect and click here and see what text is here, item 1. And this is really great because we can at least see that the correct text there is written there. It's just probably collapsed. The width is, for some reason, it's just 0 or 1, so it's really small. As you can see, we just see a little bit. So that's great. We now know that maybe we have to force it somehow to be fill. Maybe we have to set these to fill here. I don't know. Maybe, probably. Who knows? But I have to do it on the phone closed as well, because we're transitioning between these two, and if I wouldn't have the same setup, then they would be glitching and they wouldn't look great when we are switching between them. So let's see now. Still not great. So now we go within to see if fill is set up here. No, as you can see, it's fixed, which would not be a problem. But I'm going to set it to fill. I did it on the primary, by the way. Why is this fit? It shouldn't, it should be fixed, and let's just set it to larger width. Okay, let's see now. I'm gonna just test it. Phone breakpoint, open, click. There you go. little cute items. Love. Cool. So now it works on desktop. Bum bum bum. And it works on phone as well. We just have to do a last little tweak. I don't know, it looks cool. It's not bad, but we can make it better by making sure that this opens a little bit with a little stagger, or a little bit later, just like what we see on the Framer website, as you can see right here. So the way they do that is they just go here, and on the desktop, on the primary already, that you can apply this effect to the overlay links. This is the component that will appear here with visible set to yes from no. So effect on the right appear, and just specify whatever you need here. So it's going to be a fade in, and it's going to probably have like a 0.2 delay or something. So now if I click here, as you can see, it has a little delay. Like, it just waits a little, and then it's going to appear. And you could have any appear effect here. So if you want to be a little bit crazier or a little bit different, you can just do an offset to the bottom. And I don't know what is bottom, plus or minus. We're gonna see. Maybe plus. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, let's try previewing phone. Yeah, plus. Now it moves in from the bottom. Lovely little navigation. So again, just to see what we were able to cook together, little navigation. If we hover, we see items that we can click. But this also works on phone. We optimized it, and it is working in a really nice way. Really clean, structured components. All of them are reusable. And yeah, you can just click and open these, and everything works as expected. I really do hope that this little video helps you to see how I work and how I like figure out different things, how different things are created, how I explore different ways of doing something, and how do I solve problems when I run into them. For example, you can see the text was not visible. I went into inspect, I said, okay, the text is actually written there, but for some reason it's collapsed. I was setting all the widths to fill and making sure that it has enough space, and now it was eventually fixed. So yeah, really do hope that you learned something with this video. But if you still have any questions regarding this topic, drop down in the comment section. And also remix these projects. All of them will be down in the description. Also watch the previous video if you haven't seen how I created the base, the starting point of this navigation that we started with in this video. And yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, make sure to like this, subscribe for more, and I'm going to see you in the next one.